the Durable Revenant, a solo PvE build. This build is designed specifically around mace and shield. I use shield for my offhand. You might decide not to. You might decide to use axe here instead of shield, though shield does have a pair of good heals and survivability skills on it. Mace main hand for poison and torment, burning, and even more torment on the target. I've got, again, shield offhand for 2 heals, good blocks, excellent survivability. Now, this is Herald, which means it's got the Facet of Light for a healing and passive regen buff. Facet of Strength for might, passive. You have Gaze of Darkness, Facet of Darkness, and Legendary Dragon, the Facet of the Elements, plus Legendary, the Facet of Chaos. Now, I actually standardly run around with Health, Might, and Swiftness enabled. This gives me 3 passive buffs that I'm sharing with myself and everyone else, plus more buffs that I can use with the Facet of Nature if I need to. I standardly run with the Legendary Dragon and the Legendary Dwarf stances because that combines Retribution and Herald. Now, I do use Salvation, which means you could run Ventari in that second slot instead of the Dwarf stance. I am running Rampager's Armor. This is power, precision, and condition damage. But if you'll notice, I have superior runes of the Dolyak to balance out with toughness and vitality. This entire build is designed around soloing, high durability, but still being able to kill things. I've done this specifically for Heart of Thorns, but it does work good in Silver Waste and other areas. I've got a 2-handed hammer for 1 weapon set, and then, of course, Mace Shield for the 2nd weapon set. Works really, really well. Gives a good combination of ranged and close-up, high durability, but still good damage output. Running through the Waste, you're going to want to stay in Herald most of the time because it gives passive buffs. Herald is a good opener. It means that you actually have 7 to 8 stacks of might on average. You have swiftness for maneuverability, and you actually have a passive regen and heal buff that is going on at regular intervals. This gives you an overall well-rounded survivability capabilities. This means also that you can hot swap back and forth between your other actual legends. Now here I am switching to Hammer for some ranged damage capabilities. I am still hitting very hard regular criticals on the ranged target, working very, very well for me. Me and this other individual are putting out some good damage. But I am not sacrificing so much of my survivability to turn into a glass cannon. This is supposed to be more balanced towards healing and durability, overall toughness, than it is raw damage output. That is me dodging and evading. I'm using a lot of the auto attack on 1. Here we go. Pop the elite for some extra fire damage. And then at any point in time, I can burn that heal right there, and it converts all incoming damage into incoming health. And there I am hitting 5 on the shield to boost that healing and survivability even more. So when you burn that facet of healing, what happens is you lose the passive health buff, but all incoming damage for a few seconds is flipped and inverted into health, which is great. There I am swapping over to Jawless, the tank, the Dwarf Legend, for a quick bit of stability, just in case I was going to get knocked over by the vine, and the Spinning Hammers. Now, you could, as I said, swap and sacrifice if you think you can handle the damage and you don't need as much healing. You could swap Shield offhand for Axe offhand. But I've been using Shield a lot because it definitely increases my overall individual survivability. Now, there's a lot of tweaks that could be made to this build. I do not say that it's perfect, but it's been serving me very, very well in Heart of Thorns and Silver Wastes because things hit a lot harder there. There's a lot more status effects and ailments. What you're going to be seeing here is that I have a lot of damage output, but I'm gaining a lot of health too, between that passive health buff that I actually have going on with Herald and a lot of the effects from Ventari and Jawless combined. I get health when I'm hitting targets. I get random chance for health when targets hit me. Once every 4 seconds, it's a 50% chance. And just standing around, because I have regen going and a passive health gain, there's a lot of stuff going on in this build, and I really, really like it. It gives me a lot of flexibility. I'm going to zip over here to one of the other actual forts, one of the other bases in the Silver Wastes, and let's see if we can tackle a Hulk. Now you're going to see that I'm still putting out a lot of burn, torment, and poison, plus a little bit of extra fire and knockback for an interrupt right there if I want it. And in general, this is not a speed kill build, but you'll see that unless I have something that's hitting very hard or has a lot of status effects, I'm very capable in terms of individual survival. There's a lot of tricks up my sleeve. Now, I've got some ranged melee capabilities, short to mid. I also have a lot of buffs that I gain on dodge, including stability and retaliation. So a quick dodge can reflect back a lot of damage to your target and result in you not being knocked over because of the stability gained. It's a really good benefit that Jollis lends to this build. Now, some people might think this is a little too healing-centric and they want to drop salvation. What I would say is if you're going to do that, you could go with this build instead, which is actually a Malix, or the Legendary Demon build. What that means is that you're going to be sacrificing some self-healing and defensive capabilities for more damage output. That means your conditions are going to be lasting longer, they're going to be hitting harder, and in general, you're going to be causing a lot more pain, especially when you pop that elite. But the big point of this build right here is high self-healing, high durability, but still being able to output enough damage to kill something. This is a sole survivor build. You want to be the last man standing. You're swapping between Herald and Dwarf back and forth as needed because you have separate cooldown timers, separate energy bars that you have to maintain effects on, and you have separate heals between each sets. Opening up with a knockdown, stop that guy, push him back a little bit. We're going to open up with another Dragon's Breath for more status effects. That does burn our swiftness, though. And here we are layering on Torment, Poison, and even occasional vulnerabilities, depending. Now, you could use Primary Hand Sword for this, but the status effects and condition build up so much with this build in Mace Main Hand. It really does work well. Here we're going to come in on this at the last minute, swing some with the mace, get a little bit of extra damage in, but that Guardian has actually done a lot of the damage here for us. And here's a fresh target. Leap in with number 3 on the mace. There we go with the swiftness burn for the facet of elements. More torment, more poison, and you can see the numbers popping off of this target at a regular basis. We're also got enough precision to get regular critical hits. There's a swap to Jollis for the spinning hammers, which also gives us some self-healing. A little bit of stability. And let's see if we can actually take down, throw the hammers out, and generally cause some havoc. Both modes work. Both modes mean that we can actually cause a lot of trouble for these targets. We do not have to stay in Herald. The only thing you have to worry about is you have to watch that energy bar that you've got. You're going to brown out a lot of your powers if you swing 2, 3, 4, or 5 too much on your weapons, especially if you're in Herald and you're maintaining a lot of facets. Now, there's also a lot of cooldown swapping. There we go, back into Herald. Running in, we've already got health, we've already got might, and we've already got swiftness. And as soon as we get in range of anybody else, they get those buffs as well. Quick Mace 3 opener. We go into 1, hit 2 periodically for that extra burn damage, and generally we can be rooted down straight in front of that target. It doesn't matter. We've got enough self-sustaining heal ability. Now, I really think that this is a good build for anybody that's looking for a nice solo ability Revenant build. You do not have to use Herald with this, but Herald lends so much to the class. I really do encourage you to consider using it. Between the shield, between the passive buffs that you can actually use, Herald is very flexible in things you can do with it. It makes for a great base to build upon for a high damage DPS build, passive buff bot build. You can do a main tank for an actual group, etc., etc. Now, if you want to, in this particular in this particular build, swap out the armor that's got power, condition, damage, and precision for armor that's got toughness, vitality, and healing power, you could very easily turn this into a healer/healing tank build, just with that equipment swap. Maybe even change out the jawless secondary profession for Ventari, and you've just turned yourself into a main healing build. So this is a really good base, but this particular attunement right here is designed towards high survivability, soloing capable. You can still dish out a lot of damage, but you're causing a lot of trouble as well, and you can take a lot of damage. Hope you guys find this build particular interest. I'm really having a lot of fun with the Revenant. It's got a lot of flexibility, a lot of versatility, more builds to come. I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.